What is going on, YouTubers? Welcome to my YouTube channel, and welcome to the program, and welcome to this video. So I thank God that I have another opportunity here to film another fairly proper video in front of my Canon G7X PowerShot the second. Since while the situation here grows desperate and tumultuous and turbulent by the minute as we speak, though it may seem quite fairly tranquil while I sit on my bed and film this video. You just don't see the whole picture. Well, of course you don't see the whole picture, since you are only seeing me. You're only watching this video. Well, assuming that you do, assuming that you are, yeah. So probably it's fair to say that we shouldn't come to a judgment or a conclusion so quickly when it comes to making life decisions, judging others, and judging yourself by forming your own identity and a wide range of fixations on certain things, certain complexes, etc. But certainly I don't want to bore you with the metaphysics and the philosophy that I have learned and gathered, even formulated myself throughout my throughout my life on planet Earth so far. Yes. So in this video, I just like to talk about how to combat digital authoritarianism by acquiring certain types or certain categories of SIM cards. I mean physical tangible SIM cards, not those so-called eSIMs. But since though I have heard of it, I have heard of such sort of item, and I have seen the web pages pertaining to those sort of products or services online, but I've never used any of them myself, so I can't just judge and come to a conclusion as to whether we should use it or not so hastily, within such a haste. On the other hand, I suppose maintaining a fairly anonymous, fairly free, fairly secure identity online can play such a crucial role, can play such a crucial and a vital role, in securing our future of going and remaining a MGTOW, maybe also thus remaining a fairly free man. So as nowadays the situation, the circumstance also has grown quite quite not so promising, in terms of, in terms of, free, in terms of freedom of speech, freedom of expression, even freedom of movement. And, it's, with so much information, with so, so wide range of selections and choices, it can pose quite a daunting problem, towards people and end users in general. Not to mention solely us men, not to mention us MGTOWs, maybe also in cells, but I can't, actually quite boast about me myself being a MGTOW, since I don't consider myself purely a MGTOW, though every now and then I try my utmost best to free myself from women's, from the systems or from the matrix persecutions and oppressions. But I am not here speaking kind of I'm not here in particular I'm speaking against any sort of entity or party in particular, in particular political party, though they do play also an indispensable role in determining the drafting of certain policies, the creation of certain systems that can either hinder or facilitate our efforts to secure our future. And you guys, if you catch my drift, then you certainly know the drill. Yeah, so here, I'm having been remaining in China for a couple of years. I have come to realization that you are gonna need some SIM cards in order to stay connected to the global internet, if not also the global network of telecommunications. So, and this does not solely apply to China or to any other people or entity or organizations or groups who are currently remaining or who are currently remaining in China or traveling to China for business, for tourism or for sightseeing. So, and with the there are in fact there are a bunch of alternatives to Hong Kong SIM card. You might want to consider, or if you wish to remain relatively anonymous, since some of them or I should say most of them don't actually require real name registration, and and they don't actually even necessitate heading towards a physical store or shop front to purchase the SIM card, and yes, in fact, if you have used certain sort of roaming SIM card that are specifically designed for roaming, outside the the home country or region of yours, then you might have an idea or two, about what I am talking about here. So yeah, there are a bunch of ways you can acquire them. For example, you can dive in through the deep web, through some sort of apps like Telegram, and even Discord, some certain groups within Facebook, certain certain forums or sub forums of Reddit. I have since there are the deadline of real name of registering your your SIM card will come into effect roughly on the end of February next year, which is year 2023. There is still a bit of time for us to experiment with with various types of alternatives over time, and through trial and error. Since I don't actually have a whole wide range of networks of human individuals or connections throughout China proper. So I acquire most of the information myself online, and subsequently speaking via experimentations of trials and errors over time. So and in reference to one of the videos which Uncle Coach Red Pill made in the past several months or years about fleeing from America while you still can. Yes, so in case you have plans to flee from a certain country or a certain region, then I highly recommend that you you get those sort of preparations in place, in particular pertaining to communications, pertaining to telecommunications. Since well, so long as you remain within the range of cell phones, some signals coverage, then you should be fine. Whenever you wish to browse the web and to do your own thing and blah blah blah. Yeah, so it can always come quite handy. It can by having a SIM card that that support data and or slash voice call roaming in your possession. Yeah, so and it can also prove quite handy in case you also bear some sort of probability or possibility of going homeless or forced into exile, like I did a couple of years ago, actually, and it's an experience I certainly don't want to repeat, though I can't I have no say when it comes to the future. Though I have a bit of control, over the cockpit, I still can't say with absolute certainty, and neither can you, right? Well, unless you are unless you carry some some genes or some legacies, or you inherited a bunch of legacy or inheritance from a family of a family of oligarch. Yeah, then yeah, you can be quite certain about your future. Yes, since some of or most of your career or entrepreneurial road mapping has been largely planned, or even created, or even built, or pre-built, built in by your parents or whatever relatives of intimate relations, blood relations, etc. But since you are watching my video, I can safely assume that you share a rather similar background, to I. Sorry, with I. So I beg your pardon, but so in fact, there's another purpose, or reason why I made this video. I made this video. I intended to make this video as a precursor video to to one of my incoming Patreon exclusive vids, specifically about how to combat the global digital authoritarianism, or digital mass surveillance slash autocracy, and as time elapses, I shall continue to to make some progress, and as as I stated and tried in my previous Patreon exclusive vid, in which I had some online chat with with support agent or staff member of 3.co.uk about about how about whether they could forward the SIM card overseas. So, well, for those who wish to collaborate on such projects and some other exclusive projects pertaining to MGTOW, pertaining to incel, pertaining to single men who are currently struggling. Please, feel free to reach out to me, or you can click the link in the the video description, which will redirect you to to a Google survey form, so that you can fill in your email, and then I can add you to certain project folders via the email address you provide, of course, with your consent in prior. Yeah, so I hope, well, still, since we still have a bit of time, before the deadline, so we don't actually need to rush. So there are still still relatively speaking, a fairly ample amount of time for us to to experiment with the trials and errors, associated with the with the wide range of alternatives we plan to acquire. So yeah, and again, I sincerely hope this video can help you a bit. Should you also find yourself stranded in a similar situation or circumstance as I do. So yeah, stay tuned and stay safe. And don't make yourself so black-pilled, since you can't, you don't fully know yourself, and you certainly can't fully know yourself, by going purely and solely black pill. Not that I am condemning black pill per se, since I do have found some meaning, some comfort, by making myself, partially black pilled, partially red pilled. But nevertheless, such topic will certainly qualify for another whole new video. Yeah, so I suppose I have talked enough in this filming session. So thank you very much again for being with me until the end of this video, and God bless. Until next time, cheers. Au revoir.